but at the same time, I wouldn't try to be like them. I would try to be like extreme opposite of them. And it was just like, sometimes I know I was getting to the point where I was just doing too much. Like when I think about it now, I'm like, ooh, middle school Keely. Hey guys, what's up? My name's Raquel Mornings.
I'm Jay Anthony.
I'm Christina.
Oh, and I'm Jasmine.
This is Jasmine. We are back again for a second episode, which we are so glad she was so happy to come back and join us in the midst of our craziness. And so today,
I hate to cut you off, Keely, but I think today's episode we should talk about fake friends.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Just kidding. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm kidding. We don't have to talk about fake friends.
But today's episode is about validation, and Jasmine was, so happy to join us back, and I'm just so glad, we were fortunate to allow her to come back in today's episode. So validation, let's get started. Do you guys ever find yourself having a problem with validation?
I used to a lot, not anymore. I feel like as you grow up, why are you staring at me like that? I feel like as you grow up, as you go through things, you learn more about yourself. You don't really want it as much. I'll say in my career, like as an actor, I look for validation, but not validation as like, oh, I want to know if like I'm not good if they don't like me. But I look for validation from like like people I look up to, if that makes sense. So not necessarily wondering if I'm good, but wondering like, can I make it in this I don't know if that makes sense. But like in my everyday life and stuff like that, I used to look for validation like a lot. Validation about the people that I'm dating, validation about what I wear, validation about how I talk, validation about the people I hang out with, but
yeah,
more for real.
Jordan, Jasmine, anybody want to hop in there? Take it for a ride?
I would say I mostly seek validation in my relationships with folks I've dated. Because I always wanted to know, like, are you going to up and leave? Like, if I don't look like that, or, if I don't look like that, would you, would you still love me? Stuff like that. And I had to grow out of that. Like she said, I feel like I only seek validation in my career goals now. I think it's just the growth thing and a maturity thing also.
Yeah, definitely the maturity thing, because I think that as I've gotten older, I start to care a lot less. And I'm really, at this point, I'm not completely at a point where I don't care what anyone says about me or thinks about me. But like I said, as you get older, I think you start to care a lot less what people think about what you're doing and who you are and what you're doing on a daily basis, blah, 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 blah. But I do think that social media, especially like Instagram, makes it a lot harder to kind of get away from that when literally the whole platform is based on getting that validation. And people make good money from getting that validation from other people. So, but I think like for a certain amount of time, like I had to literally stop getting on my Explore page because it was tearing me down. It was bad. Like I was being like super self-deprecating. Like it was just really bad. Like I was like all these Instagram baddies. Like I don't look like this. I don't look like that. But it was just like me tearing myself down. No one else was doing it. It was just me doing it to myself. I literally had to get off my Explore page, and I honestly don't get on there now because it was like a never-ending cycle of me just comparing myself to other people. So I literally just had to take a step back from that. But like I said before, I think as I got older, I started to kind of get into that. Like it's really not that big of a deal. Like I don't care.
Yeah, that comparison kills. It freaking kills. I know. Like for me, like I still have certain weeks where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get on social media this week. Or I'm not gonna, because I'll get on there and I follow a lot of famous people who are where I want to be. And so I start to look at stuff like that, and I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm trash. Da, 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 da. And it's just like, sometimes you have to center yourself. Like you have to take a step away from that and kind of, you have to kind of realize that everybody's journey is not the same. That comparison, it really, I know I dealt with that bad. Like when I first got to college, I dealt with that bad. Like I can't even explain how bad it was. It was terrible. Like when I tell you, I was comparing every little thing.
Yeah.
Every little thing. It makes you so depressed because you just start feeling like, what the freak? Like, you look like nothing. Like, what the freak am I doing?
Yeah,
so,
college was really that time for you.
Oh yeah. My first 2 years of college. Oh. I can't even. God.
You want to get into that?
Yeah, we can get into it.
Okay.
Yeah, like we were both theater majors before I transferred to like a communications major.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they had that theater fraternity or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to be DG5 so bad.
When I tell you so bad, I was doing
I didn't even mention it. You wanted to be them so bad. I would just say them. It's irrelevant. Neither here or there.
So like when I tell y'all bad to like I was doing any and everything that I could just to get those people to like me. Like it got to a point where I would stop performing at my highest capacity because I didn't want them to feel like I was better than them. Like it was that bad. Like it was to a point where it was like I want to be less than them so that they feel like if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like it was like when that validation stuff was serious. I was like, I wanted every teacher to be their favorite. I wanted to be everybody's favorite person in every organization. I wanted to be invited to every party. I was in everybody's face. It was terrible. It was terrible. Looking back, I'm just like,
that's what
who was that? Who was that? I don't even know who that is. Like, it was terrible. Who was that girl? I don't know her. Who was that? Who was that girl? It was bad, y'all. It was bad. Yeah.
Okay. No, validation for me has always been like, I would say definitely difficult. Just depending on like who it was I was trying to receive it from. Like it's okay. Right now, I'm definitely trying to receive it from God, because we're on a journey together, trying to, get that. But most definitely, at one point, I can say honestly, I'll take it back to middle school. At one point, I was like well known, like I would never call myself like ever popular. Like I always say like I was well known, like people might have known my name, but they weren't ever like my best friend or close to me, or I didn't ever go through the popular drama. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I never had those issues. But at times when I felt I had to basically lead my own pack. Like I didn't want to be a follower so much that I wanted like to do my own thing. I would try to go above and beyond to seem like I'm my own, like we want to follow behind Keely, that type of situation. So I would always like look for validation in the quote unquote popular people, but at the same time, I wouldn't try to be like them. I would try to be like extreme opposite of them. And it was just like, sometimes I know I was getting to the point where I was just doing too much. Like when I think about it now, I'm like, ooh, middle school Keely. Like, sit down. You don't have to do all that and stuff like that. So, just like how you guys were saying, it's definitely a mature thing. You learn over time, like, hey, some things aren't just gonna go your way. And definitely comparing myself, like, oh my gosh, that is just hard in general, because it's just like sometimes you compare yourself to your friends, sometimes you compare yourself to a stranger, like whatever the case may be. Like it literally sometimes stresses me out. And guys, mind you, I can't sing a note from like anything. I can't hum, I can't do anything. I have rhythm, but I just can't sing, right? It bothers me. Like when her first came out, she's so talented, so talented. And I found out she was younger than me, and I was like, and she's making it in this world? What am I doing?
No, you have a point. Let me tell you. For the longest time, I would not watch the show Grownish. And I would not watch Grownish. I was so pissed the freak off that all these young people are out here. I was so mad. I was like, what the freak is we doing? Like I would not watch that show for the longest. I didn't watch the movie Little when it first came out because I was upset that Marcel, like when I tell y'all, like
so young.
The comparison was like, it was real. There were certain, like what movie was Zendaya in? That
the one on Netflix.
No. The with the woman with the Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I didn't watch The Greatest Showman for 2 years because I was pissed off. I'm like, why the freak is Zendaya? Like, what the freak? Like, what?
And again, all the power to them, you know, out there doing what they need to do.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. But I'm just saying, that's how I felt. Like, I really felt like I don't want to watch nothing. Keke Palmer, I was pissed at Keke. I was like,
Keke
can do the same thing. Like, I can spell. Like, me and Keke can do the same. Like, me and Keke can do the same thing, bro. Like,
Christina and the B.
Like, we in the B, dog. Like,
S-T-E-L-L.
And the B. Tina and the mother freaking B. But, like, literally, that's how bad the comparison was. I was like, I don't want to watch none of y'all be successful because I feel like I'm not successful. And that type of thinking right there, I feel like it really got to a point where God had to be like, hey, hold up. Your heart right now is not right. Like, your heart, it's not right. You gotta get rid of that, because all of that feeling like you can't watch anybody else be successful because you feel like you're not successful, because you're comparing. What they have to do in the world isn't even what I've called you to do in the world. Like, I've called y'all to two completely different things. Like, I've called you to a completely different audience. So why are you mad at them because they're doing what I told them to do at the time that I told them to do it? You don't even know. If you would have made it back when you was 12, you would be a crackhead right now. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know that I had to. No, like, I'm being serious though, because it's like, if I would have been famous when I was like 8, 9, 10, y'all, I was so easily influenced back then that I probably literally would have been somewhere on crack. Like, I probably would have been like, well, it's just like, you have to know. And like you said, like, that comes with maturity. So that's why I feel like it's easier for me to not compare so much. Now, I'm not gonna say I never do it, but it's easier for me to not compare so much and not to hate on people who are doing the things that they are supposed to be doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
definitely get that, because when I was younger, definitely in high school, I did not date a lot, and so I definitely had that like validation problem. Like, I was always like, okay, like, it's about being in a relationship or liking someone, that type of thing. When I got into college, it was different because I started dating people. So then I was just like, I don't need validation in you. I don't need validation in you. You definitely not on the list, like, that way. But like in high school, I may have not, like, you know, shown it a lot, but I definitely felt it. I felt like the pressure is if I didn't have someone, like, I wasn't good enough. Like, I remember this happened. Oh my goodness. So I ended up taking one of my brother's friends to prom senior year. And mind you, I don't date a lot. Like, I didn't. Jasmine knows. Like, you never really caught me with anyone. It's just like, I wasn't talking to people. But I had got someone to prom, whatever. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. He's so this, he's so that. And I was just like, yeah, thank you. Blah, blah, blah. And someone, like, my friends were talking about it to another guy, and he goes, oh my gosh, I didn't know Keely could pool. And that right there, I mean, like, I was mad, but I never confronted him about it or anything like that. I was just like so mad, and that made me have like a real validation problem, like, going in. So, like, especially into college when a lot more guys were like trying to talk to me and stuff like that, I was just like, okay, like, whoever is first, you know, like, I'm talking to you. And then it took me time to understand, like, sis, back up, like, anything. That's not
That's a good point.
I got one thing. So do y'all think well, in our earlier days, because, you know, it's gotten better. So do y'all think the validation we seek started with our family and stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know for me it did.
That's a really good question.
For me, it did 100%. And I'm going to say it started, and I know we're running out of time at like 3 minutes on there. But I'm going to say, like, it definitely started for me because I don't know if any of y'all know, but I have 2 sisters. I have an older sister and I have a younger sister. Misha, my older sister, and I'm gonna just say it for what it is. I love my family. I'm gonna just say it for what it is, though. My sister's light skinned. My sister's short. My sister is fit. My sister was doing everything. My sister was in track. My sister was in band. My sister was valedictorian. My sister was prom queen. My sister was everybody that everybody in the city wanted to be. Like, she was that bitch. Like, that was Misha. Growing up, trying to live up to that, it was already, like, there was already that, because I'm darker skinned. I'm bigger. You know what I mean? So, like, there were already things that in my mind, I can't live up to this. So I have to try to find somehow, some way, somehow. She always had a boyfriend. Middle school, elementary school, high school, I didn't really have, nobody was really talking to me. I was a little tomboy. Like, I just wanted to be with the dudes. Like, we were just like, boom, boom. Like, we were chilling. My sister always had a boyfriend. My sister always, you know, it was just, so it definitely started there. My sister, I'm not saying she made me feel that way. I'm saying that watching how she lived her life and then watching me, and I was the bad child, the child that was always getting in trouble, the child that was always doing something. That was me. So I feel like it definitely started with my family. And my dad, I love my dad. He's great. He didn't really call me pretty growing up. Not to say he wasn't calling me ugly. You know what I'm saying? He knew I was pretty, but, you know, he didn't really say, you know, you look so beautiful, da, 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 stuff like that. My mom is a very to the T type of thing. So not that she wasn't telling us we were pretty, but it's like she would tell us we were pretty when we were doing something or looking a certain way, if that makes sense. So I know for me, it definitely started with my family. So when I got to college and men started throwing themselves at me, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, you want to talk to me? Right. And I got this crazy hair. You want to talk to me? You want to talk to me? When I tell you, I was talking to everybody. Everybody. I didn't care if you was a Q, if you was an alpha, if you wasn't in nothing. I didn't care if you was in band. I didn't care if you was in the anime. I was talking to. I didn't care if you went to Auburn. I don't care if you went to school. I was talking to everybody. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to talk to you. What's up? What's up? What's up?
But before we go,
I'm not lying. That's literally everybody on that campus knew I was gonna talk. What's up?
Right.
What's up? What's up?
Like, when they see all of us come, they
just knew.
They fucking knew.
Here come the whores. Like, not the whores. Like, we wasn't having sex with these people.
Right.
We wasn't like doing nasty stuff. But I'm saying, like, they knew. Oh, here come the little freshman whores. Like. You know what I mean? That's what it is, though. They knew. They knew. Me, Jordan, Victoria,
Keela.
They knew when we see these women.
No.
No. Keela.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah, she was. You was
in there.
You were there.
Yeah, that's. So yeah, it took me about 2 years to really like. I say not 2 years. I say after freshman year, I calmed down a little bit. I say after second semester, sophomore year, I calmed down. The first semester, sophomore year, I was scared.
After I graduated, I calmed down a little.
Last week,
everybody.
2 weeks ago, yesterday, I calmed down a little bit.
But when I said we tore Burton down on multiple days. The band house, 222.
Okay, but before we do go, I do want to hear Jasmine answer that question. Do you feel like you ever had validation problems at home or growing up from different like mentors or something like that?
No, it definitely wasn't from my home, especially because I don't have any older siblings and I don't have a sister. So it was just me and my younger brother. So there was honestly never any like comparison or anything or like competition between us because we just were chilling. I think because I went to an all-girls school for middle school, and that was great. Like, that honestly didn't cause any problems. But I think it's once I got to high school and you get around boys, everyone's having boyfriends, and then that's also when social media started to come up for real.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I think that's when the comparison really began, especially because I was going to public school. I was going to school around boys, older boys, and not that I was like trying to be with boys. Like I wasn't like chasing anybody or anything, but I always wanted them to like secretly like me, even if I didn't like them. Like I wanted them to be like, "Oh, she's cool."
Yeah.
I didn't really care about them. And then like, a bunch of other girls, older girls, and you just compare yourself. So I think it was really once I got like into high school and like I said, like the social media, but definitely not my family. I've never like tied it to anything in terms of my family.
Yeah. So validation, you guys, comment below, because we didn't even say it on the last one about red flags, but comment below, like, subscribe, all that. Tell us about like if y'all had to deal with validation problems, if you want a part 3, 7, 5, 6 with Jasmine, comment that too. All the above, but this is pretty much like our validation and the things that like we went through personally, non-personally, simple things. But alrighty, I'm Raquel Mornings.
I'm Jay Anthony.
Christina.
I'm Jasmine. I didn't realize I was in on the thing. I didn't know.
I was in on the thing.
I'm crying. Thank you, Jasmine, so much for coming out and joining us. And I hope the rest of you guys have a great rest of your week. Peace out.
Let's get one clear code.
3, 2, 1.